week's rip-roaring edition of Game, the Fraggot experiences medieval warfare in Chivalry. We take a look at pinpoint accuracy with Sniper. And it's a preview of what's big in 2013. All that and much, much more. This is Game. Happy New Year! Welcome to Game with me, Kelly, where we're going to kick off 2013 in real style. This year is not just going to be great for the show, but it's also going to be great for the gaming world in general. Maybe there's a new console or two on the horizon? Who knows? But be sure that we'll keep you in the loop. But first though, stuff that's actually happened. There's been a slew of news making and breaking the digital stratosphere, so let's get you up to date with it all on this hot off the press edition of the headlines. In the news this week, it seems like zombies are coming back in vogue. With a successful TV show and a top-notch adventure game already out, The Walking Dead may smell a little, but they sure are popular. Now, good news for fans, if you're looking for a little more undead action, The Walkers will soon be getting an all-new video game. These are the latest shots from The Walking Dead: Survival Instinct, a first-person shooter which works like a prequel to the events in the TV show. The game is set to take place in Georgia countryside as we slip into the shoes of Daryl Dixon, redneck hunter and expert tracker. Now, all we know so far is that the game will feature a heavy story element, with gamers free to engage or sneak past the hordes of infected. But judging from the quality of what's been shown so far, we just can't wait to get our hands on the game when it releases sometime this year. Next up, from one group of misfits to another. Time to spend some time with the boy in a hat as we check in with the indie sensation Fez. Winner of the grand prize at last year's Independent Games Festival, the Xbox exclusive downloadable is now set to come out on other platforms. Now, some of you may have already heard about the game's difficult development, which was the subject of the recent documentary Indie Game the Movie. But after 5 long years and countless delays and legal battles, the perspective-shifting platformer is finally being set free, coming soon to a platform near you. Now, no word yet as to which platforms exactly or whether you'll actually be near it or anything, but we're thinking that a mobile offering would be pretty much a no-brainer. Featuring innovative world-spinning gameplay and a great pixel art style, look out for a lot more Fez. No, not him. There we go, to hit sometime this year. And finally, to close up this edition of the headlines, a little news on the ongoing THQ saga. With a string of successful franchises and a river of shovelware under its belt, American publishers THQ have unfortunately been forced to declare bankruptcy. But there is some silver lining. The company has come out saying that all titles in its current lineup are still in production, thanks to some nifty financing, which has managed to keep the company afloat, at least until a suitable buyer can be found. Now, with some killer titles such as South Park and Metro Last Light set to come out this year, another cool bit of news is that French video game giants Ubisoft are said to have a keen interest in THQ's portfolio of games. Connor Kenway laying down the pain in some WWE game, or maybe Sam Fisher sneaking around the new Saints Row? Only time will tell. Did you know that THQ stands for Toy Headquarters and they actually used to make toys? Now, if Ubisoft does really step in to purchase THQ, then we must remain hopeful that they'll still be able to keep churning out great toys for us all. Right then, it's time for us to move on to a game that ought to come with a disclaimer, not to be played after a meaty meal. Yeah, Chivalry Medieval Warfare is not for the faint of heart, and I think I know of just the brave soldier to save the day. Fraggy, take it away.
Hey gamers, Frags here, and in today's video game review, it's Python puns aplenty as we pull the pins off our holy hand grenades and chuck them in the general direction of a game which has been getting quite a bit of attention this past month. Taking the art of decapitation into the 21st century, let's clash some swords with Chivalry Medieval Warfare. a game all about recreating the action that you often see in movies like 300, Troy, and Gladiator. Chivalry is billed as a first-person slasher and features teams of extremely shiny warriors who all basically want to chop each other's heads off. A strictly multiplayer affair, the game features arenas of up to 32 players, as gamers duke it out in an escalating pageant of violence, all for their one shot at glory. Coming to us from an independent and international team of mod makers, game design chefs who've been slow cooking this game since 2007, Chivalry looks to change the way gamers look at first-person fighting games in general, with a skill-based combat system, as well as some of the most intense, in-your-face action of any game to date. So, ready for a rebellion? Well, let's mount the charge with Chivalry Medieval Warfare. Okay, so first things first. When it comes to melee combat, it's not exactly something gamers tend to get excited about. Because truth be told, most first-person games which feature hand-to-hand combat usually have it as a last resort, for punishment, let's say when you run out of bullets. And even in games which do prominently feature melee combat, the action is often pretty slow, focusing more on making you feel as weak as possible for the sake of the story. Now, Chivalry flips all this on its head by offering a combat system which is first of all fun, and both easy to pick up and challenging at the same time. Now your first choice will be to choose a side. Blue for the Agarthan Knights, loyal to the king. Red for the Mason Order, rebels fighting for control of the region. And once you're done, you've got to pick a class. On the quick side, you've got the Man-at-Arms, who comes with a short sword and shield, able to lunge at opponents or dodge out of harm's way. Then, you've got the Vanguards, long-range specialists with their poles and spears, who work best when they're poking enemies from a distance. And finally, you've got the Knights, walking tanks capable of delivering death with a single blow. Karate chop! And rounding up the whole family, each side also has archers, who've got the ability to either go with a longbow or a crossbow, taking out enemies from far away. Now for a game all about combat, thankfully all the fight mechanics are pretty easy to pick up. You've got a range of 3 basic attacks. Left mouse button makes you do a slash. Click it again and you'll slash in the other direction. Move the mouse wheel up and you begin a stab, which is a little on the weak side, but is also the quickest attack in the game. And your third and final attack is the overhead slash, which takes a year to wind up, but hits like a truck, often sending limbs flying all over the place. Now blocking, on the other hand, is a little more complex. You see, in order to execute a successful block, you've got to look at the tip of your opponent's weapon as it strikes, and move the mouse in that direction while holding down the right mouse button. Mess up your timing or block too early, and death is soon to follow. But you see, that's exactly what makes Chivalry so fun to play. That interaction between players, as strikes and parries are exchanged in a blood-soaked medieval dance. Now the battles feel extremely satisfying, especially when duels end with some sort of decapitation. I mean, it sounds like you're cutting down a tree, with fountains of blood spurting from a freshly opened flesh wound. And even when you do get cut down, it's a skill-based game. It's not like you're being shot at from some guy in the bush 300 yards away. And I don't know, you get this sense of respect for your opponents that I rarely feel in many of today's shooters. And finally, I really love the objectives in this game. Instead of making you go raise a flag to capture a village or, stay in one spot for 10 minutes, Chivalry has objectives which are as dramatic as they are fun to play. Capturing a village means actually going into that village, murdering all the innocent civilians running around and burning the whole thing till it's nothing but ashes. And guess what? That's exactly what you get to do in Chivalry. And whether you're playing as the king, defending your throne room, pushing battering rams, or bomb carts, or firing off ballistas at oncoming enemy ships. The game modes in Chivalry are all pretty amazing. Now, as far as weaknesses go, the game does suffer from a couple of graphical glitches, like floating weapons, which do happen from time to time. Also, if you're looking to play alone, Chivalry will probably disappoint you, with really no campaign or story mode to speak of outside of the multiplayer. And finally, not so much a weakness, but because it's a skill-based game, expect to have your ego bruised a little. Especially when you start out, because with so many weapons, as well as things like effective distance and positioning to worry about, you probably won't be laying down the smackdown, at least for a while. From a humble mod, Chivalry has launched as one of the most impressive takes on first-person fighting in a video game ever. It's fast, frantic, and gets the blood boiling like really nothing else out there. Now, the great news is that as an independently developed and supported game, the developers have said that all future updates will be free. And already they're looking at expanding the game with even more game modes, maps, as well as character classes. But even in its current state, Chivalry is a truly excellent title, a holy grail of grace and gore well worthy of your collection.
It may fall short in the single-player content department, but you've definitely got some great gaming hours in that one. Battle cries at the ready, boys. Alrighty, it's time for us to take two. We're off for a quick break. But when we return, it's bombs away with a big bang. It's a new year with new games. And we bring you to the front lines in Bosnia with the latest gameplay footage. Sarajevo, Bosnia, 1993. On the front line, the only thing that matters is survival. This is Sniper, Ghost Warrior 2. That one winging its way to us in the first quarter this year. Welcome back to Game. Now, if you're just joining us, then you've missed out, but you can always catch up with past episodes on our website, espnstar.com/game. Now with the new year, we're obviously looking forward to what's to come. So here's a peek at some games that we are completely stoked about and think you should be too. It's time for the Big Bang.
And this edition of The Bang, from the underwater world of Rapture to a steampunk cloud city in the heavens, welcome to the strange and wonderful world of BioShock Infinite. Crafting a vision of the year 1912 like you've never seen, this action bonanza drops players into the shoes of a detective looking to infiltrate the mysterious flying city of Columbia and rescue a young woman who's been held captive for the last 12 years. A girl named Elizabeth.
Promise me that if it comes to it, you will not let him take me back.
Now it's still early days, but already it looks like Infinite is set to continue the BioShock tradition of combining a great story along with a solid core shooting experience, with a host of role-playing elements thrown into the mix.
What did you do? What did you do?
Featuring a brand new hardcore mode called 1999, where decisions you make have permanent and lasting consequences. Infinite will also feature an all-new mode of transport, giving new meaning to the term fast travel. Due out for release in March this year, if you like your role-playing to come with an awesome candy-colored action shell, look out for BioShock Infinite on the PC, PS3, and Xbox 360. From a city up in the sky to the lush tropical rainforests of, what? New York? Yup, the year is 2047, and this is Crysis 3. Marking the long-awaited return of the nanosuit warrior, the Prophet. This time, our Flexi friend is in a bit of a foo-foo, having discovered the truth behind the Cell Corporation's nanodomes. It's revenge, as the hunter becomes the hunted. Built with an all-new engine allowing for some amazing-looking environments. One of the cool things we're looking forward to is the all-new Hunter multiplayer mode, where two nanosuit hunters with invisibility cloaks take on a team of 10 Cell operatives.
Area clear.
Turn the tide in your favor. Due for release on the PC, PS3, and Xbox 360, Crysis 3 comes out next month. And finally, closing out our shooterific New Year's edition of The Bang, one from the boys at EA. This is Fuse. A game brought to life by the same folks who gave us Ratchet and Clank and Resistance. This one follows a team of 4 misfit agents as they take over Turf using a combination of state-of-the-art technology and lethal teamwork.
Dalton, what are you doing?
Taking away their leverage.
You can't kill a senator.
Why not? I didn't vote for him.
Now, the interesting thing about this title is that each of the game's 4 characters have their own unique abilities. What's more, you'll also have the option of jumping from one character to another, allowing for some pretty strategic mix-ups.
Enforcer! Get to the door!
Featuring a combination of great visuals and some awesome 4-player co-op,
Guys, this is not our fight anymore.
look out for Fuse on the PS3 and Xbox 360 when it hits the shelves in March.
Everyone all right?
Yep. I fell on my gun.
Insomniac Games will definitely have us up all night with that one, scheduled for launch in March. Okay, time for another short 2-minute breather, but stick around because up next, we step inside to discover the beginnings of our video game sweetheart, Lara Croft. And if you thought we'd overcome the end of the world, you were wrong, but we still have 13 days.
With only 13 days left, until the end of the world, I finally awoke from my sleep.
Luxarian, the divine city of light and prayer. The residents are taught the ways of salvation and faith. This city is built on the people's beliefs in their God. However, even in this metropolis lies darkness, untouchable by divine light. That is, those who disregard the teachings of God.
You should know who I am. Or should I say, what I am. These are the final 13 days.
That was a look at what we can expect from the latest installment of a franchise that is actually as old as I am. Wow, scary. And it also seems like time will be the key to saving the world from destruction. Now, with 13 days, what would you do? So, whilst you think about that, it's time to turn to another game that we're all more than familiar with. Lara Croft is the stuff of dreams. But have you ever wondered how she honed her skills? We'll find out as we go inside Tomb Raider.
Lara Croft is one of the most iconic heroines in video game history. In this reimagining, we go back to the very beginning to tell an origin story that takes the player on an incredible journey to discover how she becomes a Tomb Raider. Lara's first adventure begins after she and her crew embark on what was supposed to be an adventure of a lifetime, only to find themselves shipwrecked and left for dead on a mysterious island in the Dragon's Triangle. Lara Croft doesn't begin as a fully accomplished and capable heroine. She's smart, resourceful, and full of potential. In this episode, we'll explore how Lara uses her wits to succeed and her smarts to become a survivor. A key element of this new Tomb Raider is the base camp system. Base camps are the backbone of the game, acting as the customization hub, allowing us to develop and support the three core experiences within the game: smart, resourceful Lara, exploration, and survival combat. Lara needs to learn new skills and upgrade her weapons in order to uncover the island mystery and defeat its dangerous inhabitants. She can earn experience through actions such as exploring, completing missions, and succeeding in combat. Once Lara has collected enough experience, she's awarded a skill point, which can be used to unlock new skills in the base camp. These skills grant Lara a wide variety of exploration and combat abilities. An early example of the upgrade system can be seen in the climbing axe. This piece of gear starts out as a makeshift item which Lara acquires early on, helping her pry open doors and break open salvage crates. However, it soon outlives its requirement.
Oh, shit. It won't take the force. I'll have to find something sturdier to turn it with.
And Lara must find more salvage to make the climbing axe stronger in order to move forward. The climbing axe comes into play when Lara interacts with zip lines and also as a way to protect herself. Salvage can be found all over the island, though some is more difficult to secure than others. Once enough salvage is collected, Lara can use the base camp to upgrade her gear with new functionality. Another representation of Lara's wits is survival instinct. This can be activated at any time and is incredibly useful in identifying key puzzle elements and hidden rewards. Fire, water, and wind behave realistically in Tomb Raider and can all be used to solve puzzles. or progress through certain areas. Fire can also help Lara acquire hard-to-get salvage stashed in crates that are hanging in nets. Meanwhile, wind can add an innovative layer of complexity to environmental puzzles. Early in her adventure, Lara finds a bow. This becomes her signature weapon, as versatile as it is deadly. At first, Lara uses it to hunt in order to survive on the island. Soon, it becomes a means of protection from vicious animals. Eventually, Lara must use it in combat against the deadly island scavengers. Lara learns to use the bow to great effect as a weapon of stealth, from afar or up close and personal.
Growing up with a character that I idolized as a youth becomes more meaningful when you discover her humble beginnings. Well, do you have a game that you grew up with? Well, why don't you tell us on facebook.com/ESSGame, or you can drop us a tweet at ESSGame and we'll catch it there. All right, guys, we're going to call it quits for this week, but make sure you tune in next week for an inside look at another franchise, but this time for the PC. And rumor has it there's even going to be a series of novels based on the game. It's Total War Rome 2, and it's only here on Game. I'll see you then. Bye.